Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of CUZZO-OP. You already know what it is. It's two cousins, one podcast, endless entertainment. It's Isaiah, aka IV, and I am joined by the one and only
Arrow.
Why you just say arrow like that, bro? You could
Because last time I said arrow to the face, you was like, nah, no arrow to the face, just arrow. Yada yada yada. There you go.
You're not
It's
even
just
wrong.
arrow. Just arrow.
Well, I will be hosting tonight's episode, Arrow. And it was weird calling you Arrow. That's kind of wild. Anyway,
They call me my name. My name is Willie.
Willie's in the cut like Neosporin. You know what I mean? Tonight I will be hosting the conversation. It's a conversation that we think will shed light on who we are, because we're going to talk about our favorites. Our favorites when it comes to CUZZO-OP. You know, entertainment for us, when we're talking TV, we're talking movies, and we're talking gaming. And so we thought, hey, why don't we share with our listeners what our favorites, our favorite game, our favorite movie, our favorite TV show, what they are, why we love them so much. And then, you know, feel free to, Willie, while I'm sharing mine, give thoughts on the game or the TV show or the movie, and then vice versa. Yeah, I'm excited to jump in. I think this is going to be good. Willie, what do you want to start with? Do you want to start with TV? You want to start with game, movie? I have a feeling I know what your TV answer is going to be.
Yeah, I think TV is where we can start. I think it will be the simplest of these conversations that we're going to have.
That's a good point. All right, so this is what we'll do. We'll start with TV. On the count of three, we're just going to, on the count of three, we're just going to say what our favorite TV show is. All right?
Deal, yeah.
All right, cool. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Psych.
Okay, cool. Just make
All
it.
right, that's it.
I was gonna kick you from the call, to be honest with you, if that wasn't the case.
That's not really a good mindset to be displaying to our listeners.
Viewers or to our listeners, yeah, you know, they'll be all right though. They'll be all right. You're here for entertainment. Did we not say you get an entertainment? We did. All right, so Psych. Listen, I gotta give love to my boy Dan. I'm pretty sure he's the one that put me on to Psych back in college. And bro, this show, listen, you want to talk about all the TV shows that have new cases that come out every week? It's the same formula. Who's the killer? How did the killer get, do their crime? And why did they do it? The team goes through some drama. You learn more about the characters as they go through their life struggles in the process of solving the mystery. Like, we're here for it, right? Same formula on all these shows, no matter if it's Fox, if it's ABC. But the thing about USA, right? But the thing about USA is characters are welcome. And to me, Sean Spencer and his best friend Gus are two of the best when it comes to the writing in the area of comedy and in relationship that I watch personally. I think Sean and Gus are the best, one of the best TV duos.
Yeah, 100%.
And so that is my build up when it comes to Psych. This is why I love this show. I think it takes that ordinary formula. It was one of the up and comers in the. I think it was started in the late. It was 2011, right? First episode, or was it 2010?
Of Psych?
Yeah. What was the first year?
2006.
Jesus, peas and rice. I'm off. That was crazy. All right, so 2006. And then it ended to what,
2014 January.
2014, yeah. It was one of those ones that was still carrying it on and at the same time doing it differently. And I think, it had, what was that show? Monk. Yeah, Monk. Yeah. I think shows like that definitely gave it the room to do what it was doing, but it was just a great way to take that formula and shake it up and have some fun with it. And rant.
Absolutely. I think James Rode Rodriguez and Dule Hill bring this chemistry together that it's just watching them is so much fun. And then when you bring in the side characters that are constantly just recurring on the show that eventually become main characters, you grow to care about everybody in different ways.
Very true.
And it might take a little bit for the ball to get rolling on when it starts to treat those side characters as serious characters, but Dule and James just bring this vibe where it's like, yo, I could watch these dudes for hours and just not get tired of it.
Never get tired.
I also really appreciate something that they end up doing. It feels like almost every episode, it's like there's something in there that it's like, oh, a random actor who's more popular than every actor on the show as a side role, and they do it almost every episode after a certain point.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You never know who's going to show up. And in most episodes of the show, you can find a pineapple.
Word.
And so it's real fun.
It's not every?
It's not every. It's almost every. Where, you could look around and I do a psych rewatch every other year. So I just started mine in January with my friend AI. And it's his first time watching. And so we've been having this fun thing where we're counting who spots more pineapples while watching the show.
That's dope. I love that.
And he got the last one. It was a little emblem on Sean's polo shirt. And but Psych is just a show that,
and make sure you keep finding those pineapples before he does.
It's so good. And I've watched it so many times where it's like, I think if you may not know me truly unless you've seen Psych, because that show is just so much a part of me.
Yeah. Bro, I definitely use it to screen girls I would date, you know what I mean, before I found my wife, and my wife went through the screening as well. And it's just, if you don't laugh at, like, listen, we live in a world, I'm not even going to get into this crazy area because I don't want to hear any of you listeners DMing me, sending me messages and being like, oh, Isaiah, don't you dare talk negative about that show. I know some of y'all love The Office, but what The Office is to y'all that see it so special, that's what Psych is to me personally. Like, it's just one of those shows that I'm telling you, I can watch it endlessly. And I think what I like, 2 years is a good move, Willie, because I think you have enough time to forget who the killer is on some episodes in the span of 2 years, because there are times when I just want to keep watching it, but after a while you're like, all right, I know how this is going to go down. So when you give it a little bit of time before you return to it, then you're like, wait, who's the killer on this one again? I can't remember. Oh, snap, that twist. I forgot about that. It's just a great show, man. Sean is so funny. Like, he's actually hilarious. And it's like in this unique dry humor / kind of like, would you say it's all dry humor? No, it's not dry humor like that.
No way.
It's like slap. Is it slapstick humor?
They do it all. And what I give Psych credit for, which a lot of shows don't do, is I forgot what kind of humor it's called, but it's not just with his words. It's his body language. It's the way he does things. It's the physical humor that a lot of shows seem to have lost over the last few years.
I agree. Yeah.
And I think the show continues that perfectly.
Yeah, it's very, very true.
Yeah. Like, there's one episode, I'm not going to spoil much, but Gus goes to knock on Sean's door and he only uses a finger and he's just tapping, but like he taps super fast. And that's how I knock on doors now because of that show, because I just love how obnoxious it is.
I love that scene. Yeah, man. They just, and then what I also love is, and we can get to this, I think, more in depth now or later, whenever you want, but I love that now they're making these movies because for me, right, like, it's crazy to have something you can watch that feels both new and nostalgic at the same time. And I feel like every time I watch one of the movies they're doing, for those who don't understand or don't know, basically the director of the show got everybody back together, everyone that was in the original TV show. Show ended, when did you say, 2013?
So the show ended in 2014, and then the first film came out, I want to say, in 2017.
So 2017 felt like a reunion, and then they were like, yo,
let's do it again.
And then they did it again with 2, and then they said, yo, let's do it again on Peacock.
Yep.
So now we have a third one, and it's just like one episode multiplied to like the length of what would be 2 episodes or 2.5 episodes, basically a movie. And it's just great. It's a great way to still connect with these characters and enjoy the show and
Yep.
everything we love about it.
And in early February, the Psych 4 campaign officially started with actors and fans tagging Peacock saying, "Yo, let's run it back."
Sheesh, man. I
So
probably can get like 10 of those out of that.
yeah, yeah, because Psych went out on its own terms. It didn't get canceled. They said, we're done for now, and that leaves the room for this. When you have a good following, actors who have the passion for the show and the love for the show,
Yeah,
you get Psych.
you do. You do. And I think if you're looking for a show where you can get some mystery, for the guys that are looking for more shows to watch with the girls that are obsessed with crime shows, because we know you're out there in the world, you're looking for another show to go, oh, babe, let's watch this. Psych, bro. Psych. You're going to get that mystery. You're going to chuckle. As we get older, this show is only going to get better because they make
Yeah.
so many references to the past in the 80s and the 70s and old movies and series and
Even new movies. It's a pop culture show also.
exactly. And that's probably why we love it here at CUZZO-OP, obviously. And so, yeah, you guys got to check it out. Great show. Definitely my favorite. And obviously, it's Arrow's favorite as well.
Yeah. All right. Time to move on to where we may disagree.
Do you want to go first since I'm hosting?
No.
Are we doing movie or are we doing TV?
I will let you decide, host.
Let's jump into movie, man. Let's jump into movie. I hope we don't disagree. I mean, there's really nothing to disagree on.
Yeah, this is a talk about our favorite movies,
Right.
Not necessarily what the best movie is, because
favorite movie, not movies.
Okay.
You got that? Oh, okay. We'll see how it goes, bro. But listen.
Sure.
I'm thinking movie-wise, there's no need to even say anything. For me, my favorite movie of all time, Inception, Christopher Nolan. If you know, then you know I don't have to say much. But for those who don't know, all I'm going to say is this. Christopher Nolan is my favorite director. I think I mentioned it on our first episode. I love how in every single one of Christopher Nolan's movies, he plays with the dimension of time in some way, shape, or form. And so, Dunkirk, we've got 3 different situations that are happening, all told within the time span of like 2 weeks. I think it's like a week, a day, and an hour or something like that. Just who thinks of something like that and puts it into one seamless movie? Interstellar, obviously, we're talking space travel and the time and how it's hit by that. You have Memento. The guy can't remember what happened yesterday because he has, it's like a short-term memory loss, basically. So he gets tattoos to remember certain things on his body. Insomnia, that's with Al Pacino. And he's trying to chase down a serial killer, but he can't sleep. And it's in Alaska where the sun is different and time is different. And he has this insane insomnia. So the time just feels so long for him. That was his first ever film.
Where's the Inception talk?
I'm coming, bro. Relax. Back into it. All that being said, these are all the pieces of time. For Inception, I felt like what made it different, right? What made it different was I love the concept of dreaming and how he had to fictionalize a concept for the first time. Everything else was very realistic, each of the examples I just gave you. This movie, he took a chance and got a little fantastical. And I just love all the performers. Obviously, Leonardo DiCaprio is insane. I love Tom Hardy's cameo role in this one. Joseph Gordon-Levitt was excellent as the right-hand man, as the Nightwing to my man. I just feel like the movie has action. It's a gripping story. It's emotionally like in tune. Every scene is edited to the most precise point because that's how Nolan is. I mean, what else can you ask for? You want a drama, you got it. You want action, you got it. You want thriller, you got it. You want something that's gonna make your head itch when you leave, you got it. And at the end of the movie, Nolan loves to never close his movies off without leaving you with something to ponder on. And I think this is one of the most famous endings in movie history because of what he did. I'm not even exaggerating. So yeah, it's insane. It's an insane movie. I just thought it was great. That's my favorite all time.
Inception is great. It's one of the greatest movies that I've ever seen. And I watch that every few years just because of everything you mentioned. It's just a lot to take in. I think it might have been it's probably been about 3 years since I've seen it last, but the movie, I feel like that was definitely Nolan at his best.
Sorry.
I also think it's funny how in the first episode you were ready to fight for Tenet, and then here you ain't even mentioned Tenet, but whatever.
I was gonna keep going, but then you cut me off and told me, "Oh, I was not gonna talk as deep into the movie as much as what the movie means," because I think that's the mark of a director, right? I feel like it's cool when you're versatile and you can do different styles. But it's also cool when your movies feel like they connect this picture of who you are as a director. I think that's like people with a really great body of work. That's what I love about movies. You can see that in people like, actually go ahead. You share your movies, and I bet you one of your directors has got a style. Go.
Okay, so you've limited me to one movie, right?
I did that on purpose. But you got
because
your runner-ups. Say your runner-ups, please.
I know that you would like to discuss my favorite since I was young, and I haven't even seen this film in maybe about 4 years at this point, but it's something that just remains. I don't know if you would call it a guilty pleasure or just it's a classic for me. Taken, Liam Neeson, 2008.
There when you watched that for the first time.
I don't know if you were there for the first time, but you were there for one of them. I remember watching it with your sister for her first time right before going to watch Taken 2.
I remember that. Wait, did we watch it with the kill counter on?
I don't know. I think when you and I may have watched it, we did.
I think so. They had
but
special effect on the original DVD where you can have the kill counter on. It was bad. It was bad.
When you no when myself and your sister watched, it was just us two, and it was the night before I went to watch Taken 2. And there's just something about Taken, because it's like, is it the best acting you're ever gonna see? No. Is it the best action you're gonna see? No. But something there. It's just something about Liam Neeson and his just Irishness and just strength and seriousness that I love. Clearly a lot of people, as much hate as this movie gets, loved it also, since this man only makes Taken movies now, or Taken type movies now.
I know. Was he making those types of movies prior, or was this his first? Like,
I think this was the one that started this little Liam Neeson genre.
So he's so dope. He's not even typecasted. He created his own type of cast.
Yeah, he is the genre. It's the Liam Neeson genre.
Well, what about Jason Statham?
So Taken is great. And they even made a spin-off reboot remake television show that just didn't make sense because it was a prequel, but it took place in modern society that didn't exist when the first movie was made.
Right.
That was dumb. But the first movie remains one of my favorite movies.
Classic.
Runner-ups, a movie I probably haven't seen in 10 years, but I just remember loving it so much. Troy.
Wow.
And then Bohemian Rhapsody. I love Bohemian Rhapsody.
Do you? That's interesting. I never heard that from you. That's
I love
crazy.
Bohemian Rhapsody. It's in my top 4 on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
I love Rami Malek. I love Queen.
Movies. When did you watch this one?
2019. I think that's when it released, right? I saw it as soon as it came to like DVD and digital. And yeah, I mean, I love Queen, and this movie really did a lot for me to make me love Queen even more. And I'm a huge fan of Rami Malek. He's one of my favorite actors from like Mr. Robot and Until Dawn and stuff. So watching him here, he did great. And I know that the film isn't entirely accurate to the story of Freddie Mercury, but it's still pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'll eat that up.
And then just because I'm obsessed with Star Wars, that's something that people should probably know about me. It's my favorite thing ever. Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. I watched that movie maybe 5 to 10 times a year. Like it's terrible how many times I watch that movie.
I love that.
But Taken, it would be the one that I always tell people. It's the one that whenever you ask that, that's the first thing that comes to mind. Although like it's not the best. It's nothing special. It's special to me.
Yeah, bro. That's all it needs. All it needs to be is a little special to you, and we with it. Um. All right. So, I mean, runner up wise, that wasn't. I don't know. I felt like you were gonna say something that was gonna upset me, but didn't. So.
Um, one of my more recent movies that I've watched for the first time, and I've actually watched two of them, the Kingsman movies. I don't know if you've had the opportunity.
Of course, bro. They're both so good. The first one, especially.
The first one is great, and the second one was just such a fun ride. And over the last few years, I've gained a bigger appreciation for the fun, the not Oscar worthy, the not perfect movies. Like Inception is a perfect movie. I've started to love the wacky, even though Psych is my favorite show of all time, the wacky
Listeners, hope you're listening. Keep going.
the nonsensical stylistic movies and television shows. That there's a show I'm going to bring up when we get into, oh, we did shows already. Damn. Yo, if y'all haven't watched Umbrella Academy on Netflix.
Listen, that my wife and I started that, but we didn't finish it, bro. Not even. We got to finish first season 1.
It's another show that's stylistic. You can tell that they went in there with an idea of this is the style we're rocking with. And Kingsman is another type of that franchise. I'm excited to watch the third one, even though I've heard things, but I've also heard that I saw the Rotten Tomato score for the second Kingsman was a 5 out of 10, which I think is
because of what you said, right? Like your concept of wacky and fun, and you're not going to win an award off of that because people want this, different type of like high esteemed type of movie, And I'm not saying I'm a hater because I'm going to watch all the Oscar movies I missed. And one of my favorite movies, like I said from our first episode, Oscar nominated movie. But there is something about like the comfort food of a movie like Kingsman, man, or Taken, or honestly, John Wick is like a high end for that.
John Wick, man,
Wick, bro.
4 comes out this year.
We got to talk about this, I guess, man. We found ourselves here. We're gonna have to talk about that.
Yes, sir. But in terms of the serious movies, in 2 weeks we're gonna have our Oscar episode. So surprise. That's going to be an episode, and I'm excited to discuss because some of these movies that I've watched, I'm like, good, yes. Oscar, what is it?
Yeah, it's
Oscar bait, so that's going to be a fun combo.
I think while you get your thoughts together for gaming, because you're going to go first, my runner-ups real quick would be The Prestige, Christopher Nolan. Definitely like Kingsman, not Kingsman. My bad. King Arthur and the Legend of the Sword. Definitely love that movie. Guy Ritchie, great movie. That's one of my favorites, hands down. La La Land, forever. I just watched it again. It's on Netflix right now. If you haven't seen it yet, excellent movie.
La La Land is fantastic.
Beautiful, bro. It's talking about stylistic movies. That's the stylized right there, bro. Like. I haven't seen Damien Chazelle's new movie. Do you remember what that's called? Babylon? I haven't seen that yet. But La La Land's great. I don't think oh yeah. And then on like the kids side, Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3 is one of the best Disney movies.
Damn, we talking kids side. Y'all ever watched The Lion King?
Of course, bro. What are you talking about? You talking about the one with Beyonce, right?
Heck no.
Okay.
I'm talking 1990s Lion King.
I was just vibe checking you. Anyways, man, on to video games. Last part of the episode here. Willie, tell us, favorite video game of all time.
Okay. This is a hard question because I'm a gamer. And I feel like there's a couple of ways to tackle this. The last few years, my answer based on story-based games has been Uncharted 4, A Thief's End.
That's a goodie.
Uncharted 4, it's the 4th game in the franchise. You can tell that Naughty Dog made Uncharted 4 after The Last of Us.
Oh, yes, you can.
because they took this fun adventure franchise that was essentially what I've heard is Indiana Jones, but for video games.
Yeah.
And they introduced this mature like tone to the story that had a bigger emphasis on like the character developments and the motivations and just the emotional depth of who these characters were, you know.
Yeah.
One of my favorite scenes in that game is when Nathan Drake and his wife are sitting on the couch just conversing with one another, and it's like, yo, this scene alone is so different than anything that we got from the other 3 Uncharted games. And as that game went on and everything unfolded, it just was just so much of like that greatness, which is what the whole game is about, greatness and legacy. And by the time that all that has come to a close and the game wraps itself up, it's like there's a line in the game that I wish I would have pulled up before discussing, but it's essentially this idea of your adventure has come to an end and you thought you would feel something good, but you really feel empty because the adventure's over. And that's how I felt when I played Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
Because it was a great ride, and when it was over, and I didn't have it anymore. And that idea of that's how they closed the game out, and that's how I feel. It just resonates so hard. So that game is really just like
so well said. So well said, bro. It was excellent. But that's not even your favorite. You just said that's your favorite, or that you were just saying this.
So Uncharted 4 is my favorite game of all time, as where I'm at right now as a story gamer. That's who I've been for the last few years, someone who really emphasizes story. But if I were to think entire life, including multiplayer and story, Gears of War 3, 2011. It's a classic. It's a classic. It's my multiplayer game. Everybody has their Call of Duty, their Halo. I'm Gears of War. You could catch me there any day. Gears of War is the only reason why I own an Xbox One. I purchased an Xbox One for my friend just because Gears of War 4 was releasing, and that's the only reason I ever plugged that thing in is to play Gears of War.
That's facts. I got one too.
You and we've played every Gears of War together.
Single one, don't matter where we're at, we have one of us go to the other or the other go to the other, and we sleep up. So we stay up all night playing that.
I specifically remember going into middle school, playing Gears of War 3 for the first time in September, sleeping over at your house, and then you coming over to mine to finish it all off.
Yeah, that was good.
And it was just what a journey that game is. And then the multiplayer aspect of it all is just the tip, you know. That's the game of like prestige. I'm prestige in that. I don't prestige in anything else. I don't play multiplayers like that.
Yeah, you're nasty on that though.
Gears of War, you know, that's the franchise that's student.
Everything you know about that game, though. Don't forget. All right.
That what?
Gears of War 2. I'm the one that put you on.
That's what I was gonna say. You know, the student has surpassed the master. I surpassed you very quickly. You know.
Ooh, we said quickly. This man's wild.
But yeah, so. Gears of War 3, Uncharted 4. Those are like, that's me. That's me.
Gears of War and Uncharted 4. That's good. Uncharted 4.
You know, if you don't mind, I also want to give love to an indie title because I think indie games get forgotten a lot during these conversations.
Talk.
If you have never played the game What Remains of Edith Finch, an indie game from, I believe, 2017. Very fast, 2-hour title. I recommend it. Catch it when it's on sale or do the full price so that they can, you know, get their money.
Or watch somebody play it.
Yeah, I mean, watch someone play it. Yeah, because it's fast. It's like sitting down to watch a movie. It's a brilliant story, and it's a sad story, but it's just so good. It was so good, and there's this sense of mystery behind it all. If you're a gamer, I think you should play it. If you are not a gamer, go watch it. The soundtrack, even in the soundtrack in Uncharted 4, also soundtrack is a big part of gaming, and that affects my love. And
I agree.
They have it.
They got it. Indie game with that. I love that.
So, what's your favorite game?
Oh man, you're gonna let me go off. I'm gonna say got it. Dang.
Ooh.
Nah,
That's not even what I was expecting to hear. Just the fact that you have to think about it, even if you say
you know what
what
it is.
I think you're gonna say, the fact that it wasn't the first thing that come out of your mouth,
I,
I would love to dive deeper into that privately.
you know, we could do that privately. We could do that privately, but I'm not confident in that yet. So I'm gonna say confidently that my favorite video game of all time is The Witcher 3, for sure. Wow.
That that is what I was waiting to hear.
And the reason why I say this, right, is like when you look back at gaming on the story side of things, because I feel like you broke it up into really great um, categories. Like I'm gonna do the same thing you did. I thought that was fire. So like Witcher 3, the story is so deep. It is so deep that there are certain things that go on in my playthrough that doesn't happen in another friend's playthrough because they haven't explored enough to be able to have certain types of conversations. The way they build out dialogue in this game is incredible. The way that you can unlock certain parts of dialogue if you've experienced certain things on the map because they wisen you up to know what a character's talking about because you were, and it's a reward for you exploring into an area that they didn't point you into. Natural exploration, beautiful landscapes. The game still looks like it can compete with other games now, and it just got remastered for the PS5. And I just remember that summer when it came out, being afraid to play it because I was scared of what it would require of me. And also because I have if you know me, I have a very serious fear when it comes to video game bugs. I don't like video game bugs, respectfully. Respectfully. I,
You mean like
I'm talking like
like
spiders. I'm talking,
oh, okay.
not, that's not even a bug, obviously, but I'm saying like
Nah, burn every spider you see in any video
spiders.
game you
I
play.
can't do it. It's just,
I
oh,
can't
and
either.
also other bugs, like just weird looking bugs. They creep me out. Don't know why, but in this game there were tons, and I was like, this is such a good game that I'm gonna push against my fear. I'm gonna push against and push into whatever this game is gonna require of me when it comes to the story. And I made the time one summer, and I just played the crap out of it, and it spoke to me in so many ways, man. I loved feeling like I was on a fantasy trip, like I opened up a book or I was playing D&D in some ways. Uh, Characters are excellent. Video games excellent. Combat, I know it's controversial, but I really love the combat in that game. It dared to not follow the, X button, or square button, triangle counter combat. Like it really did something different and innovative at the time.
Why does it sound like you're targeting the Arkham combat right now?
No, Arkham combat is iconic. I would never do that to Arkham. I promise you. I'm just saying I liked what they did here. It was fresh. And Yeah, I can't wait to go back and play it again. I haven't played the PS5 remaster, so I'm definitely excited for that. That is my favorite game of all
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
When it-
Before you get into your next section, I want to tell you a decision that I made. I recently finished up God of War Ragnarok in its 100% capacity. I'm playing a game called The Outer Wilds currently. It's a small game, but after The Outer Wilds, I am officially diving in to The Witcher 3 after trying 8 years ago and just not caring for the first hour of the game. So
but yo, bro,
that's a promise that I'm making to you, and I hope you'd be willing to have a full blown conversation about it once that journey is done.
I'm absolutely down because you can talk about that forever. It's just too good. It's too good. I can't wait because I know I have buddies that like got to the first mini boss and never beat it. I got buddies that like played into it but never completed the game.
Yeah,
But
I'm the buddy that made it to the first mini boss, beat it, and then was done.
got it. It was the Griffin, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Word, man. I think I definitely should take a second just to jump into the competition side of things when I put the story part of my heart to the side.
Yep.
And I think on the story side of things, man, you put me in I wasn't ready for this. This is me off the top of my head trying to really like ask myself because I wasn't expecting you to go this direction. But
I
it
mean,
actually makes me think of God. It thinks makes me think of Gears of War 2, to be honest with you. Um, Man, multiplayer, like something that's not just a story. Yeah, bro. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna have to say Modern Warfare 2. I'm gonna have to say Modern Warfare 2. I think when I just think of memories and gaming and something that's not just about the story, but really like the fun of a video game, I think that is probably still peak competitive fun that I've ever had. Um, and I know that that's like mad basic for gamers, but listen, let me spit game and shed light. Hopefully, y'all don't hate me for saying this, but like the thing about Call of Duty, right, is it's not just like the fact that it's fun to shoot guns or like you got the gang, you feel like a bunch of, a bunch of soldiers out there doing your thing, teamwork, X, Y, and Z, or trying to style on each other. It's also this fact that like there's people who make this game and they make it with love. And it's just one of the most purely competitive, fun things you can do, like on earth. Like it's just pure competition all the time. And I think the part of you that wants to compete and best the guy next to you, they just know how to create a game that like pours into that. And I that's why I love Call of Duty. Modern Warfare 2 was just one of those moments where I realized it. I think I realized it to the fullest. We used to have mad fun with that. And then we get creative, play Mike Myers, private matches where, we want to all go against each other and talk smack during the week at school. Like just a great game. Um, and then I think last but not least, you said an indie title, right? First thing that came to my heart indie wise was Sifu. Um, Sifu came out last year and is strictly on the PlayStation and PlayStation 4 and 5. Honestly, man, this game is so beautiful. And I think on a video game level, right? Like combat system is insane. It's a kung fu brawler. But there's difficulty to these fights. There's technicalities to knowing how to like move the controls, how to be strategic about certain types of enemies. And I just think the system is so dope. It's made by guys who have made other Melee games, but they have not perfected it at this point, in my opinion. And so it was just really fun to run around as a martial arts master, just fighting and kicking butt. It was just a great time. But then on top of that, they added this concept to the game where every time you die, you come back alive, but you come back alive older. And so the more you die, the more years you lose and you become older. And the weird thing is, as you get older, you have less options because you're not as flexible as you once were when you were young, but you hit harder. So there's a playoff to dying, and sometimes that can be a part of the strategy of maneuvering through combat systems and the brilliance of that concept, along with the beautiful art style. It's just an insane game. So if you play PlayStation and you're looking for something and you haven't played it, I spent my majority. I got my report for 2022. I spent like hundreds of hours on this game, shamelessly. Great game. Those are my two.
Yeah, I haven't played Sifu, so yeah.
Now you know.
While you were sitting here and talking about the multiplayer aspect, I thought about another really fun competitive that was a part of my life, The Last of Us. They had a multiplayer mode that not a lot of people know about, called Factions.
We've been running games again. We should hop back on.
And Factions is just so good, and it was loved so much that right now Naughty Dog is producing an entire standalone multiplayer game.
Heck yeah.
So, but that's really my conversation for gaming. I actually do want to recommend an indie game for people. I believe it's free. At least the first one is free wherever you can play it. You need to grab a buddy of yours. It's co-op. You could play online. It's called We Were Here.
We were here.
And me and my buddy just finished playing the 4th title in the franchise. And it's such an interesting journey that these developers are just giving to us. So, if you guys need a co-op indie game that you want to try out, the first game is free and it's like 2 hours long.
Yeah, you can't be in a party chat. You got to play in-game chat, and you have to talk
so,
do a walkie-talkie. It's a good time.
That's I think that's it for my gaming right now, for sticking to favorites, because I could dive in all day.
Oh heck yeah, man. 100%. I mean, I could tell you that he's right about Uncharted 4. It's literally one of the best. Red Dead Redemption 2 is an insanely realistic experience. It's like dang near simulation. It's so good. It's just a great game. Fortnite. We got to talk about Fortnite this year for sure, man. I know we're talking about it a couple times. I'm really looking forward to discussing Fortnite and the phenomena that it is.
Absolutely. I think that'd be a great conversation. But I think, I think we're comfortable sharing that the first gaming episode that we will deliver to the people is
God of War Ragnarok.
God of War Ragnarok.
Gotta talk about that. Come on.
So,
and that was what I stuttered earlier in the episode to say as my favorite, because I'm just heavily conflicted. I'm hoping that conversation can set me straight when we talk about it.
Yeah, you and I, just to give people a little bit of insight, you and I, thanks to this podcast, we've decided that there are some things that we're not going to discuss so that we can be very reactive during the podcast.
I agree.
So you've only told me one thing about your feeling about God of War, and I've told you one thing. Because we both beaten the game and all, so it's going to be an interesting time to discuss that game in depth. And I have topics and points that I want to share that, even if you haven't played the game, I hope you stay and listen to, because it's one of the games where I feel like if you're not a gamer and you hear someone talking about it, you're going to be like, you're getting this from a game?
Right.
So I welcome you to listen.
Man, gaming is the same reason why y'all like our reality TV shows on TV, or you like your cheesy rom-coms
or books.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, the nature of story, it connects with us, man. And that's how they do it when it comes to these video games. It feels like that's the bar that keeps being tapped. And so, that's why he loves Uncharted. That's why I love Witcher. These games have that quality. And so we're really glad that you took a probably like a 45 minutes to an hour. I haven't looked back at how long this one was, but glad you took some time to listen to us as we shared our favorite video games, movies, and TV show. If you haven't seen Psych, make sure you watch Psych. And we're going to be back. I mean, we've already previewed a couple of different episodes in the future, but if you're looking for Last of Us conversations, if you want to hear about, Ant-Man, obviously, if you want to hear about Marvel, if you want to hear about God of War, if you want to hear about what's going on in present day pop culture and entertainment culture, CUZZO-OP is where you're going to find it. So stick with us.
Yeah.
Share this podcast with your friends. We're just going to talk. And we hope you join the conversation. For those who are on Spotify, please do us a favor. On the bottom, when you scroll underneath the song, the podcast, when you press play, there's an option to answer a question or to ask us a question so that we can take those questions live on our podcast. We definitely want to do that. We want to hear what your thoughts are on some of our thoughts. And yeah, man, thank you so much for joining us. IV, Errol, you got anything to say before we bounce?
Nah, not really. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed the last 3 episodes we've been able to put out so far. And thanks for listening.
Until next time, this has been Two Cousins, One Podcast, and listen to things.